another episode of the Rhino Show podcast. Again, we're coming to the new year. Man, we've had so much great traction, great support. We always appreciate you. We do our best to bring you amazing guests that do huge things in their respective fields. The biggest feedback we got from 2019, again, we made top 100 podcasts here in Canada. But one of the biggest requests we got was, Ryan, we want you to have all of your podcasts on YouTube and video. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be so much more work. But that being said, we are on YouTube, so check us out there. My next guest, I have literally been following you, man, for a long time. In and out. I've been in and out. Resell. I've seen your daughter grow up just through your videos. I've seen your family. But my next guest goes by the name of Michael Resells. I'm sorry if I butchered it. I'm not Spanish.
It's okay. It's Portuguese. Resendes. But that's my government. I just go by Reezy, or if you know me from social media, Reezy Resells.
Yeah. So Michael Resells, a.k.a. Reezy Resells. He is a father, husband, content creator, and reseller. A true underdog story from having been a high school dropout and food stamp recipient to selling over $5 million in lifetime sales using Amazon fulfillment services. He began documenting and sharing his journey with the public in order to inspire thousands of people worldwide to follow the hustle. His passion for supporting fellow underdogs and impact their lives in a positive way is his driving force. His mission now is to continue to help and support around the world through his YouTube channel, podcast, local speaking, events, and shows. Through his awesome content, useful resources, viewers and followers are shown that they can change their life using the internet. It's not the 1920s anymore. They can see firsthand what is possible when you start building your own online business. Reezy, man, welcome to the show, my man.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. That was a freaking killer intro. I can tell you did your homework.
You know what? I want to give everybody who's listening to this podcast a little bit of context. I like Reezy too, as everybody who's been following my journey. I come from extremely humble beginnings. I was raised by a single mom. My mom passed away when I was 13 years old, so it was kind of like a big knock in the guts, but I just kind of always felt there's gotta be a way for me to succeed. I know it always takes work. When I watch Reezy, one thing that's really compelling about him, and I want everybody listening too, in the reseller community and market, there's a lot of snake oil salespeople out there, and I've witnessed it, I've seen it, but Reezy is definitely tried, true, tested. He is an OG in my opinion. He's even got people like Gary Vaynerchuk that are, he's like, man, I want to kick his ass in garage sailing and stuff like that. So, and I did see a recent interview with Gary, but I really wanted Reezy to come on the show and just help you learn how to go into stores, figure out how to buy a few products and make some money. Now, whether that is you're just trying to make an extra couple $100s to pay a bill per month, or you're trying to go at this full time, this is the guy that can help you. So first question, Reezy, is in 2020, how does somebody who does not know reselling, or even maybe what that means, how do they start? Let's go all the way back to the beginning for people that maybe aren't even technical savvy. How do we start in 2020?
Yep. So you need to sell some shit. So basically, I get this question all the time, so much so that I made a free course that you could grab on my website, and it takes 2 hours, and it will take you from where we're at right now to you understand what I'm talking about if I'm using technical terms and everything. But I also just made a really good video yesterday or the day before on YouTube called "You Don't Need Money to Start This Business," and that is the honest truth, because you can start with free stuff, and that's what I recommend everybody to start with. So to begin, you want to do eBay, you want to do Poshmark, you want to do Mercari, you want to get on Amazon, you want to figure out which platform works best for you and for what you have available to you, because not everybody has the same stuff. I might be able to sell a lot of books because I live in a literate community on the West Coast and it's artsy fartsy and there's colleges. You might live in the Midwest where, not as many people read and there's no colleges, so books won't work for you. You know what I mean? Maybe clothing is your thing. I could never do clothing because they don't have barcodes and I'm not a fashionista. You know what I mean? Like, it would take me forever to look everything up. And I just wear Dickies and flannels. You know what I mean? That's me. So if you want to get into reselling in 2020, I want you to focus on the process, not the profit, right? So it can be overwhelming. Start with the stuff you have in your house. Everybody in America has probably 200 to $500, if not $2,000 worth of stuff in your house that you can sell on eBay right now. And this is people that say they don't have any money and are check to check. And I'm looking at the stuff in their house like, why don't you sell some of this stuff? You don't even watch those DVDs. Why do you have all these DVDs? You know what I mean? You watch Netflix, like sell your DVDs. So download the Amazon seller app, download the eBay app, set up your accounts. There's a good app for eBay called What's It Worth. Check that out. I believe it's free. Gives you a little bit more data than eBay. But I say shop your house. That means go through your house, everything you have. Start with all the stuff you have that's still sealed, right? Those are like the outliers, right? You got old wedding gifts. You got movies and books you bought that you never opened and stuff that people gave you that you didn't even care for. Look to see if you can sell that stuff for money first. After that, start going through everything you could scan, the CDs, the DVDs, your old textbooks, okay? After that, go through all your old collectible and kitsch stuff that you don't want it anymore. Look it all up on eBay. Learn how to look up completed sales on eBay. We call this comps in the reseller world. The average person doesn't understand this, so they'll go on eBay, and it bothers me too because people who are selling stuff in stores or at garage sales, they'll look it up on eBay and they'll go, this Flintstones mug, $20. I saw it on eBay for $20. Yes, you may have saw someone listed it for $20, but when is the last time it sold and what did it sell for, right? $5, $10? Look at the sold items, the green ones sold, right? So then you know, okay, this is what it has sold for, and you could see a range in prices, and you got to understand, even though you don't know anything about Flintstones and coffee mugs, why did this one sell for $5 and why did this one sell for $20? Well, more than likely the $20 one was a much better condition. Maybe it wasn't sitting in the sun. Maybe the $5 one had a chip and someone's just going to use it as a pencil holder or for decoration, right? Or maybe they used way better keywords in description and pictures, right? So there's a lot of variables to this stuff, but you need to understand that as well as something that's called, I don't know what people call it, but thick market versus thin market, right? And a lot of people don't understand this. They'll look something up, right? They'll find this mug, and let's just say it's not this mug, something more common, right? But they'll find it, and a seller has 100 of them at their yard sale, and they're selling them for $5 a piece. So they go on eBay and they look up this mug and they see it sold for 30, and they go, oh my God, I'm gonna make $20 on times 100, $2,000 on every single one right now. And so they buy all of them for $5 a piece. Now they're out $500 invested in 100 $5 units. What they didn't know is that they were only looking at sold items and not looking at completed and sold, because that's important, because that shows you how many times it didn't sell. So you can literally look on a time span and be like, okay, over the last 3 months, it was listed and not sold for $20 10 times. Then it sold for $20 one time. That is a very thin market. It's hard to sell into a thin market. So if you understand thick versus thin market, that can kind of give you a gauge on the velocity, how fast it sells, you know? Or maybe you can just go, well, they were all selling it for 20 and I got it for $1, so I'm going to sell them for $5 a piece, and then maybe it will sell faster. There's reasons. Either the demand is not there, the price is too high, but you need to understand all of those things before you dive head first into something. And that's just with eBay, which is honestly a little harder than Amazon. With Amazon, we get much more data, but Amazon's harder in a different way because, you know, it's more formal. There's stuff you can and stuff you can't sell. You know, you can't sell half broken, that you can't sell. You can't pour on eBay. You could pour your junk drawer into a box and sell that mystery junk drawer, you know? Going back to the video that I made the other day called You Don't Need Money to Start This Business, it's literally 40 minutes of me telling you everything you can sell that's free. That's zero investment, zero risk, and you'll blow your mind. I'm talking tree bark, acorns, snail shells, moss, dirt, sand, egg crates, toilet paper rolls, box tops for education, scraps of metal. Like, it's infinite. There's so, like, I have my list right here. Hold on. Coupons, bottle lids, driftwood, animal fur from your dogs. If you have a dog that sheds a lot, people make crafts out of it, like wool. Animal poop, dried animal poop. If you have a farm, you got goats, you got chickens. I'm not playing. This is fertilizer. People pay for this. Bird feathers, tumbleweeds, tumbleweeds. Where do you think that tumbleweed came from that's on the set of that film or in that person's nice home decor? They didn't go outside and look for a damn tumbleweed. They bought it off eBay from someone like me and you for $20. So when you see a tumbleweed on the side of the road, pull over, throw that thing in the trunk. Bird nests, like bags of air from concerts and like famous locations. Like if you want to get into the nitty gritty, you find a rare Cheeto that looks like Harambe. You could sell that for who knows how much, right? So if you want to get in the game, there is no shortage of ways to get in the game. Like once you exhaust all your options of things you can sell that's in your home, start going to Craigslist. Check out the free section on Craigslist. Go on Facebook Marketplace. Look for the free stuff. Tell all your friends and family that care about you, hey, I'm the Goodwill now. And they're like, what do you mean you're the Goodwill? Well, I started this reselling thing and we're trying to make some extra money. So whenever you guys have stuff that you don't want, put it in bags, put it in boxes, give me a call. I'll take all of it. No questions asked. Yes, you're going to get some junk because that's what the Goodwill is. People don't give stuff to the Goodwill because they love the Goodwill. They give it to Goodwill because it's the free junk drawer. You know, the free drop it off,
absolutely.
Right? So you get it. You go through it. Learn how to look stuff up. Learn why stuff sells for more. Learn search engine optimization in titles. Learn how to take photos and focus on the process. Get faster. Get fast. You need to get fast at the process. You need to also know what you like or don't like doing. Maybe you try with all this free stuff, 2 weeks go by and you're like, man, this reselling stuff is actually hard work, which it is, and it's not for me. So, you know, you didn't risk no money. Now you're out the game. No harm, no foul. Maybe you just go, man, I don't really like the clothing because you got to button all these shirts up and you got to, you know, measure them and like, you know, everything has pros and cons. And for free, you need to figure out not only how to do it, but what works best for you and what you like the most, right? Because a lot of people, they see my YouTube videos and it's sad that the videos that do the best are like the retail arbitrage videos, the ones that where I'm buying 500 pairs of shoes and those are all $50 a piece, and that's so inaccessible to the average person because the average person in America has like less than $500 savings, and those are the people I want to reach. Those are my people. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to talk to people that are made and born with a silver spoon in their mouth. I want to talk to people like me that got fucked up teeth because their parents never took them to the dentist, and I want you to know you can make it. You know what I mean? Like, have you heard the song Crooked Smile by J. Cole?
Yes, man. Yes.
Dude, that song makes me feel away. You know, I keep my crooked grill just to show the kids it's real because it is. You know, like anybody can make it. And whether or not you want to be a reseller, you can make extra money by trading your time doing reselling to give you more time, enough to make, you know, go to Disneyland with your kids. You never took them to Disneyland. Have that nice vacation once a year to start up that new business that you've been wanting to start up. Maybe you stay in reselling, in which, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can do wholesale, private label, so much. Just don't do drop shipping. Just don't.
So Reezy, sorry to interject here. You're a dad. I'm a father, man, and you and I have some commonalities in humble beginnings, and then also being, you know, dads, right? And I talk on my social media a lot in the podcast about, you know, there's so much mom boss and girl boss, and I'm all about that. But, you know, dads need love too, and there's some really great fathers out there. For you, you know, to see your daughter play such a little role, and I love just the way she talks about, you know, hey dad, let's go make some money today. And you got her, you know, and I see in the comments of your YouTube videos, people are saying, man, when she gets older, like it's gonna be knockout because she's witnessing her dad just straight hustle. Yep. So for people who are listening, and again, I'll link all his details in the show notes and stuff, because everything I'm asking, he's got probably 5 videos for each question. I want to really tap into your mind today a little bit, and the soul and the reason and the hustle, you know, and your kind of background that stems you. Is there one situation? Is it a multitude of situations that you said, I got to change my life? Like, I got to do something. I got to get proactive here. This is not working out, and I got to, you know, roll up my sleeves literally and make this happen. Was there any instance? Can you give some of our listeners some insight?
Yeah, so I think I was blessed with a very bad background and upbringing, and that is the best thing that ever happened to me. And side note, as a parent that giving my children a good life, I struggle with how to teach them those same lessons without doing it without the way that I learned them. You know, how do I micro neglect but not macro neglect? You know, but because you learn when you're neglected you figure stuff out. You need to make them figure stuff out. That's how kids learn, right? If you hand it to them, they don't learn and then don't appreciate it anyways. For me, I would say that, so 15 years ago, probably even 16 or 17 now, my last job I worked for anyone, I worked at a skateboard shop. I'm a skateboarder. I've been skating for like 25 years. And I thought that was going to be my dream job. Turns out it was just another retail job. It was cool, but it was whatever. And I left that, and I was just driven mostly by the fact that I didn't want to work for another person. I had never really had any cool jobs, and working for another person feels like having to ask for a hall pass to go to the bathroom. That's how I felt my entire life, working for people. I pretty much thought of quitting every job I've ever had the first day I got there. So for me, it was always, how long will this one last? And every single job I ever had, I quit on a lunch break. I was at a lunch and I was like, I ain't going back. Not for me. You know what I mean? My wife's like, what are you doing home so early? Yeah, I quit another job. It's not for me. I'll get another one. Don't worry. It's just a job. Get a haircut, do the job thing. You know what I mean? But growing up poor, neglected, having a bad home environment, drugs, alcohol, domestic violence, homeless, living in cars, living in hotels. Like, that was the good side when we lived in a hotel. I never wanted to go home. It was the last thing I wanted to do. And my dad never gave me $1 my entire life, right? I could never ask him for $1. But I was fortunate enough to grow up by an amusement park, the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, and it's free admission, but you can't really have fun if you don't have money. But once you get in there, their money's all around you. And so I figured out, me and my friends, all these different ways we could make money. We would, say, hey, dude, it ate my quarter, get a free video game. And then eventually they'll be like, bro, keep bothering me. Let me give you 100 credits. And then I would sell that to another kid who came through. I'd be like, hey, I'll sell you this for $20. Got 100 credits on it. And these kids are there on vacation. I don't got any money. I got $20 in tokens. Okay, give me your tokens. Back when it still took tokens. Then I go stand at the back of the token line and be like, hey, I'll give you $20 of tokens for $15. Now I turn them back into cash. You know what I mean? So then we would go and play the tokens in the games, cheat the games, get all the tickets, find the dude trying to win his wife the big teddy bear, pull him to the side and be like, bro, I'm gonna tell you right now. And I'm like 12 doing this, and these are full grown men. I'm like, hey, you're about to lose all your money. I come here every day. I'm gonna give you the guap right now. You know what I mean? Here's like 1,000 tickets. You just give me $40. And he's like, deal. So he hands you the 40. He comes back like, hey, check it out, boo, I won. Let's go get your teddy bear. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff is how I got into hustling, right? And because I never wanted to go home, but I was hungry. I had to eat. You know what I mean? Like, I kept my wallet papered up with buy one, get one free coupons for food restaurants. When I was hungry, I would go to the line, tap a shoulder. Hey, sir, when you get your sandwich, here's a coupon. Can you get me the free one? You know what I mean? Those were as good as gold as I was talking about. Like, I'll go to the pizza parlor, pretend to play video games, and wait till that family left with one slice on the table. That's my slice. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff. When we got older, and especially when my friends' older brothers got older and they started selling weed, they would be like, hey, help us sell this. You know what I mean? And that was my real introduction to business. You know what I mean? And sales and, having stock and keeping customers, and like all of this type of stuff. That translated into eBay later when I was like 15 and saw they were running commercials on eBay. And me and my brother started getting into eBay. But to answer the question, that was like the longest answer ever, the drive comes from having no other option. And I was blessed to be born with my back against the wall. Like, I'm more than comfortable with my back against the wall. Like, I take the wall with me. I strap the wall up like a backpack, bring it with me because that's what drives me. When I have a lot of options, I'm not inspired. I'm inspired by lack of options, lack of money. What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? We got to do it. How are we going to do it? It becomes crystal clear to me how to do it when there's less options. And a lot of people are scared to put their back against the wall. I'll throw everything I have away right now and I'll be good in 90 days. 90 days, like I need maybe even 30. Like, give me 30 to 90 days worth of living expenses and I'll be good. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about doing this. I'll do anything. I'll figure it out. If I have to dig holes in the ground, I don't care. Like, it's going to happen. And that's the mentality that I've always had. And it's because I've always had no other option. And I think the big hack for me was because I never had anything was better than what I had. So I was never scared to take a chance. I was never scared to, I firmly remember in my mind the day I was hollering at honeys at the boardwalk, and I was scared to talk to the girls, right? And then I missed my opportunity to talk to them. And back then, we didn't have the internet. You didn't have cell phones. It was, let me get your landline number, Yeah, and if I didn't get their landline number, they're going back to wherever they came from after today, and I'll never see them again. If I get the landline, maybe we could be pen pals, and I could see them when they come through again, or they could push their parents to bring them back to the boardwalk or whatever, because we didn't have cars. I was 12 years old. And so I just remembered, I was like, fuck it. I got nothing to lose. If I don't try to talk to this girl right now, what's going to happen? She's going to slap me. She's going to say, get out of here, you short weirdo, like whatever she's going to say. But that doesn't matter to me, because that's the only chance I have to get something from them, And so I am so comfortable with my back against the wall. I'm so comfortable with rejection. Like, I like it.
How do you process rejection, Reezy? Like, I know when I get it, man, survival. A lot of your tactics are straight survival. And when you survive, I always say, like, if you put a poodle in the ring with a pit bull, it's just some serendipity that might happen. Maybe the poodle comes out. I'm not saying it can't. Anything's possible.
Right.
But it's going to be a tough fight, right? That being said, how do you deal with rejection? It's crazy. Like, even in 2020, I still kind of go back to the basics, and I'm like, people, like, even the people you're trying to get to right now and help, they lack a lot of self-confidence, obviously, for many reasons, upbringing, etc. They put themselves in a pigeonhole for lack of resources, which that's huge, right? But just that sheer, I want this, I want to talk to him, or I want that sale, but God, I do not want to deal with the no and the rejection. How do you process that? I know now you're a pro at it, but for somebody who's not, simple tactic that, yo, man, here's what you can exactly think about when that fear starts to set in.
So there's two kinds of rejection. There's the, like, I don't even know what I'm going to call it, internal rejection, where like you psych yourself out before you even take the chance.
Yeah.
And I learned a long time ago from skateboarding. I remember I was at Derby Skate Park, which is the oldest skate park in America, and it's not like ramps and rails and stairs. It's a snake pit and a bowl, and it's fast, and you go fast, and when it's going, and you're like, I remember being like 10 or 12 and trying to get in, and like, missed my chance. And this dude who was like a respected elder, he just looks at me and he just goes, hesitation will kill you, Grom, go for it. And I was like, oh shit. And then I just went for it, and it was all good. And so you have to go for it. You have to at least try, regardless of your internal dialogue. And I think part of that is that because I had such a fucked up life, I became really good at not dwelling on bad things and actually almost erasing my own memory, to where like I could tell myself a story in my head and I could believe that more than what actually happened in real life. And I don't even remember what happened. It's like selective memory erasure for, emotional reasons or whatever. And it's not like I do it consciously, but I do not dwell on the no or the rejection at all. It's am I in? Am I in? Am I in? I'm not? Cool. Next person. Am I in? Am I in? Am I in? No? Cool. Next person. I'm okay with 1,000 no's, right? And being another thing, and I was blessed to be neglected. I had to speak up. If I didn't speak up, no one would hear me. If I didn't yell, no one would hear me. You know what I mean? If I wasn't funny or witty, or if I didn't, dance and move, you know what I mean? I wouldn't get people's attention. So I had nothing to lose. I wasn't afraid to ask. And I, getting people's attention was a commodity for me. So I learned how to get people's attention. And when I got your attention, I'm giving it my all. My heart and soul is on the table. And if you chop it in half, that's fine. I'll just go to the next person. If there is a door that is open for you to walk through, you just need to find it. You know what I mean? And same thing with anything else. Close that door, find another one. Like, that door is always there. I grew up in Santa Cruz, which is like a hippie community. It's very liberal. I was never taught, by the community, like, the culture is not, you better keep your job and like work your ass off and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. No, it was, you need to be happy. You need to do what you want to do using your specific talents. Not that I knew what it was back then, but I knew what wasn't for me. And I would shut doors quick. Like, nope. You know, it's like, I didn't learn how to be a parent from my parents, but I learned how to not be a parent. And that's the same thing. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? Like,
your daughter's name, Reezy, is it Luna or Luma? Sorry. Luna? Luna.
Yeah.
When you had Luna, is that your only child now, by the way? Sorry, I don't know.
No. Actually, I'm currently in my 19-year-old daughter's room. She just moved out. And she works full-time and goes to college, so her room became my studio.
Okay.
So I'm a 35-year-old with empty nesting syndrome.
Damn. So, okay, well, that's got to rephrase my question then. I mean, with your daughter, I can imagine, your first daughter, with Luna, was there any kind of insecurity that having children for you brought up? Did it make you have to look at yourself more? Did you find that dealing with them emotionally, that it kind of drudged up some stuff for you? Or, like, for me as a dad, and I'll speak vulnerable, I mean, I thought I was confident until I had children. And then it's not that it spawned any badness. Like, I'm blessed, man. And my first crack at having a true mom and dad family, I always knew as a child, was going to be when I created my own family. You know, fast forward, I'm married. I have, you know, my daughter and my son. And, you know, constantly throughout the day, it's crazy where something will come in and it's not fear-based, but it's just, I'm so in tune emotionally with how I feel towards them. And, you know, you start to, I'm like, oh my God, maybe I could do that better. Maybe I could do that a little better. And it's really interesting because I'm you know, I come from a football background, and when we get the ball tossed to us, I was a running back. You don't have time to think about, oh my God, the linebacker's going to come up. You just go. But having kids for me really made me go internal, a lot more internal, really go into those nooks and crannies, address all fears, all weaknesses, all insecurities. Did you have anything like that? Or is maybe you just wired differently?
So I've always been extremely confident. Like, from the moment I went full confidence, I never went back. And even if I didn't feel it internally, I know the value of seeming confident from the outside. And so I was never not confident. I never lacked confidence. But for me, the struggle was I was really selfish when I was younger, and I still wanted to have, you know, me time. And I had my first child when I had barely turned 16, the first few months of being 16, and got married when I was 16, moved out, dropped out of high school in 10th grade, got a full-time job, rented an apartment. But I was still, you know, my wife raised me, you know, for more or less, and like, I would still go and party with the boys, you know, and I would still go out and skate. I would go to work for 8 hours, then I would go skateboarding for 8 hours. You know, I was still a kid. I was like on that, you know, I'm out the house vibe, you know what I mean? And I didn't really realize what I had at the time. It wasn't until, you know, I got seasoned as a father and got a little bit older to where I was like, you know, I would see my friends running around and chasing tail, and they're going to the bar, and I'm like, I ain't gotta go. You know what I mean? I'm good. I locked my boo up. You know what I mean? And then I would see that also even later, you know, the pool of availability was getting slimmer and slimmer. You know what I mean? Like, most ladies were getting ringed up. And so again, you know, I had that realization, but it wasn't, you know, until I started doing social media that I fully really came into like a new sense of being, to where I realized, oh, I have a purpose now. You know, I'm not here just to make money and have a good time, because I used to think, okay, how can I make the most money with the least amount of effort so that I can just lay on the beach and smoke weed for the rest of the time? That's what my mentality was. And that is cool, but at the same time, that's not fulfillment. That's not a sense of passion, you know, and purpose. And I always wanted to be that guy that's in the history book that you read about, that made a difference, that I'm gone and you will know about me for 250 years. You know, I want 10,000 people at my funeral. Like, I want there to have to be security to keep people out. Like, no, stay back, you heathens. You know what I mean? And like, and I see now I know I'm doing that. I'm changing people's lives. We're going to Disneyland. People are crying. They're see Reezy. They're like, yo, my husband lost his job. And if it wasn't for you, who knows what we would be doing. Now we're doing better than we were doing before. I quit my job. I'm home with the kids, spending more time. Like, Reezy Resells, I'm putting daycare centers out of business. You know what I mean? Like, parents are staying home with their kids are getting more attention, they're getting, you know, people are having a more fulfilled life. I'm not trying to turn people into millionaires. I don't care about that. Go follow those people that have the freaking Lamborghinis or whatever. Like, some of them are legit. If you want to know, I'll tell you. But that's not me. I want to help the people that are trapped. They are in the trap, the 9-to-5 trap, the check trap. Mom and dad are working opposite schedules. They see each other long enough to kiss and hug and trade the kids off, and then that's it. You know what I mean? And like, the kids don't get the attention they need. The parents want to, you know, you want to homeschool your kids. We're homeschool now, but you can't do that if you don't have the time to do that. You know what I mean? Like, and I can tell you right now, it's not only easier than public school, it's way better. Way better. We can control the curriculum. My kid can learn at her pace. If she's not conducive to learning right now, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's like, because for me, I know what school was. It was like a jail. They do not reinforce creativity. You're going to kick a kid out of school because he was selling pencils or candy at school. You should give that kid an award. He's an entrepreneur, and you didn't teach him to do that. You know what I mean? You need to water those seeds so they can grow, not cut the freaking stems off, you know what I mean, and tell them how to grow. Like, it's just not right. And so I really forget what the original question was, but the point is like,
keep going. Just keep going.
You can like, as a young kid, you know, I remember people saying, hey, you could do anything. And I would say, well, that, you know, I didn't believe them. I was 7 years old and I was cynical as hell. And I was like, oh yeah, you could do anything. That's easy for you to say. I live in a trailer. I'm homeless. I'm on food stamps. When it was paper, my dad's selling half the food stamps for cash, you know, like selling half the food stamps. Say if we get 500 food stamps on the first of the month, he's selling half of those for half the cash so that he can use it to buy alcohol or buy drugs or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, why wasn't my dad on the other side going to get $1,000 of food stamps for $500 cash? That's where I want to be at. You know what I mean? Like, not that we got the paper food stamps anymore. You know what I mean? But like, I want kids to know that there's more options. And like, I can't go back in time. I can't change my life. Not that I would want to, but I can't. I can't help young Reezy, but I can help all the other young Reezys right now. And I can help all these parents improve their lives and their children's lives. Like, dude, everything I do is for the children, man. Like, if you got a child, you know, like, I'm gonna help you out a little bit more. You know what I mean? I help everybody out, but like, people that got children, especially young parents, I got a soft spot for them. Or if you're a high school kid and you're trying to hustle, you're still in high school or younger, hit me up. You're on the special list. You know what I mean? Like, I give those people special attention, right? Because I want to cultivate that mindset. That's how you change the future. That's how you change the future. And a poor kid like me, I never believed that it was possible to do anything to change the world. And now I do. I know it's possible. I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I used to have asthma my entire life. I had asthma, hospitalized 2 weeks a year, inhaler in my pocket. Somewhere between starting social media, finding out who Gary V is and where I'm at now and finding my purpose, asthma disappeared, gone. They cured it with the purpose and the drive. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm happy to be here every day. The opportunities are endless. And like, you know, people always tell me, hey, Reezy, you're the GOAT. You're the, you know, like, yo, I'm just a dude. You know what I mean? Thank you. I'm just a dude. I'm a normal guy like you who just spent way too much time on his phone and on the internet. I happen to be a skateboarder, so we fuck with cameras, and I'm a smart dude, so I know how to use computers and stuff. So like, I have a little advantage, but it's nothing you can't do. You know what I mean? What camera should I use? This one. Your phone. Use your phone. Figure it out. There's no difference. Anybody can do what we're doing right now. You know, maybe you can't speak like I can speak, or you can speak or whatever, but you could do something. You know what I mean? There's something you can do. And I think everybody should at least give social media a shot, because once you get that feedback system, whether it's one person, 10 person, whatever, 100 people, your self-awareness curve just accelerates. You start to figure out who you are faster. Because for me, I thought, well, what's the value? I'm going to give people how to sell online, how to make money. That's what's going to bring all the boys to the yard. That's how I'm going to make money off YouTube, because it was a selfish reason why I started YouTube. I was like, yo, I'm going to be the next Casey Neistat. But that's not the truth. What really is the value about me is that you can look in my eyes and you know I'm real, and you can believe me. I can make you believe. And I've had such a backstory that when you hear my backstory, you're like, damn, if Reezy did it, I could surely do it. Now, the problem is that might not be true, because the fact of what happened to me put me in the right mindset to be able to do it. You know what I mean? A lot of people think, hey, well, if he did it and he was homeless and he didn't have this and he didn't have that, I can do that. But do you have the drive that comes from having no other option but success? That's it. I'm hungry and I'm going to eat. Bottom line.
Social media, kind of stopping there because it's a great point. Social media affords you access to people you'd never have access to, in the real world. If you strip away the internet and you knock on a CEO's company of a Fortune 500, you're not getting, you're just not going to talk to that person. It's not happening. Circle all the way around. We've had big guests on the show. How do you distribute your access? When somebody reaches out to you and says, yo, man, I want you to be on my podcast, or I want you to do this, how do you distribute? How do you filter? Do you have a filter system? Do you care? How do you... your time is your biggest asset. So giving us your time is huge.
Yeah, so this last year, I took on a personal assistant. Best decision I ever made.
Shout out to Mandy.
Her name's Mandy.
Yeah, shout out to Mandy.
Her name's Mandy. She's amazing. Shout out,
hey, Mandy.
I say lately I've been saying we form like Voltron. I'm the head and she's the gun, because I just tell her where we pointing this thing and she pulls the trigger. She makes sure the stuff happens. So I can literally, I'm eccentric. I finally realized it. I throw ideas at the wall and then she makes it happen. She's hiring people. She's making Slack chats. They're the people we hired and I'm paying them money. They're asking me questions now. My attention span is terrible, but when I pay people, I listen. I don't even listen to my wife about a lot of stuff, but I finally figured out that's a hack for me, is to have a personal assistant that I pay. And now my wife even realized it. She's like, if I need this done, she tells Mandy. Mandy will make sure it gets done. It gets put on the schedule. I'm like, yo, I want to do this speaking event. Mandy's like, you can't, because that's during Rose's finals. I'm like, dang it. You know what I mean? That's how it really works for me. But you have to figure out, what is your time worth? How does it work? If you're just getting started, take every opportunity you can. Well, how much free time do you have? And how many podcasts are hitting you up? Do all of them. If you're getting more than you can do, start saying no. Say yes as much as you can until you have the luxury of saying no.
But Reezy,
right?
you can say no. So I'm looking for the reverse hack on this, the reverse engineer. So if I am if I am starting out and I want to get a Reezy, what's some things that you're like, these guys or these people are looking for that? Because this is one of the questions we get asked so much.
No, I got it. So, and this is great because I just did this to Gary V. So I just interviewed Gary V for episode 100 of my live show, which is Reezy Talks. Normally I do it right here. I flew to New York and did it in his office because he doesn't have to get out of his chair.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
And so, but how did I get that, right? Obviously I had been on his show before, and he asked me to be on his show, and that's a whole nother story of how I made sure he knew who I was. But 9 months after him sending me a DM saying let's have you on the show, finally happens. You know what I mean? That's how busy the man is. So 6 months before I interviewed him, I said, hey, Gary, this is exact verbatim. I messaged him, and he follows me on Twitter. So if you're not on Twitter, get on Twitter, because you can reach people on Twitter. They have less followers, right? Everything on Twitter is more valuable because people have less followers. So I said, hey, Gary, it would mean the world to me, right? That verbiage is specific to Gary. I know he says that all the time. That is specific to him. Yeah. So I hacked him a little bit with that. Gary, it would mean the world to me if I could have you as guest number 100 on my live shows. Importance, right? Back history. I'm at episode 89 right now. This is when we could do it. He writes back, let's do it. Screenshot it. 6 months of me talking to Tyler, to his assistant, to make sure it happens, right? But, and then let's say, like, you, for an example, right? You or anyone else, I don't do any podcast anymore. I want to see that you have put in effort. You know what I mean? So Mandy will go listen to your podcast, watch your YouTube channel, and some of it's superficial. How many subscribers do you have? How many followers do you have? How many downloads do you have? But it's not just that. It could be, hey, Reezy, this guy doesn't have a lot of subscribers or a lot of followers, but I think you should do this one. And Mandy is in touch with me. Like, she was originally she's one of my followers. She was in my mastermind group. She was so helpful, I had to stop paying her, right? Then I had to start paying her. Then I had to start paying her more. Like, so she knows, she listened to the same music I listened to. She was attracted to me for a reason. You know what I mean? And 90% of the time when I tell her to do something, she's already doing it. She's on top of it. You know what I mean? And so that's very important, but it has to, it's subjective a little bit. Is the magic there? Are they putting the effort in?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, I mean, generally when people message me, I won't say no. I'll say, hit me back when you're on episode 100 and I'll do it. And for me, that's a little hack to where I'm like, look, I'm not saying no, and I'm kind of encouraging you to keep going, but don't expect me to be the first or third guest on your podcast that you just started and you're not even researching your guests to ask them any specific questions. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that just seems like you want a free hour of my time, and I charge $300 for that. So
there you go.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
man.
It's subjective a little bit, but it's like, who is this person? Are they cool? Are they putting the effort in? Like, what's the vibe? What's the culture like? You know, like,
and everybody listening here too.
What's our benefit of this? You know, like, is there, okay, like, who have they interviewed? Okay, like for you, I'm like, oh, top 100. Okay. Watch a few episodes. I'm like, all right, I like this dude. You know what I mean? Background's on point. Like, he's actually trying. You know what I mean? See the little DJ in the back? I'm a DJ. You know what I mean? So like. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that, right? So like these little things that I can't really quantify, it's just, it is what it is. You know, it's the magic. But you know, that's how we.
It's really interesting though, because you look at the podcast, it's a push and pull, right? You're too small to bring on big, or you're too big to small. Like, you know how it goes. So, I mean, you got to get a couple whales on the show. You got to get a couple names sometimes, because when you go to somebody and you're like, hey, I've had this guy, Patrick McDavid, I'm sure you've heard of him, Valuetainment, right?
Yep.
I mean, it took me 8 months, you know, but it's just constant talking. But I get this question asked so much. Mandy, and this is funny, and I like to give our listeners kind of an insight, because they're like, you really talk very candid with some of these guests. And I'm like, well, there's value in this. But she's like, hey, Ryan, thanks so much for reaching out. We'll get back to you. Going to check out your podcast. So then I said to my wife, because it was like New Year's Eve, it was a couple days before, and then I respected the hustle. I'm like, oh, I love this. These guys are still hustling right to the end. And she got back quick. Let's do it. I'm like, yes. And then you know,
nice.
New Year's and all that happens, and then, you know, we fast forward it. But I think that, again, you know, how do we get access to people? That's a great one. Your time is precious. We're gonna wrap up.
That was all real quick. That was all before she didn't ask me. She told me I'm doing this podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
and then I went and I was like, I trust her, of course, but I still went and looked at it a little bit, and I was like, all right, let's do it, you know. But
of course,
because I have the final say, of course, you know, like, but yeah, if you ever get a message from my assistant canceled at the last minute, that's my fault. That's my fault.
No, man, it's all good. The only other question left in terms of reselling, and I have experience with this too, is shipping cost. I mean, and I know you got videos on shipping cost. What are some hacks you can do? Like, even my wife and I, we got some stuff we resell.
You're in Canada, right?
I'm in Canada.
Yeah, shipping is the worst in Canada.
I know.
It's so worse. It's way worse than in the States.
This is what I figured.
So,
but is there any hacks that you have for that?
So there is hacks. So not a ton though. Like, I don't know about Canada, but in the US we have flat rate priority boxes. So if you're shipping stuff that's really heavy, you got to make sure you use the flat rate boxes. So there is a free shipping platform called Pirate Ship. I don't know if it works in Canada, but it's made by some smart college kids that started up a website, and there's, you know, it's all code and AI. There's no employees, maybe one, right?
Yep.
And so instead of paying for like stamps.com, which costs like $20 a month, you can use Pirate Ship for free. It's not free to ship packages, but it's free to use as a platform. And it has integration with eBay and all other commerce sites to pull your orders in. But the best part about that is you put in the weight and the package dimensions, and it automatically suggests the cheapest way for you to ship it, which is very important to me, because obviously when I'm shipping my own packages, I'm smart enough to know to try all the different various ways to make it as cheap as possible, right? But an employee, they might just go, oh, let me throw it in this thing and mail it. And I'm like, no, that's $7 if you mail it like that. But if you mail it like this, it's $3. And you might not think $4 is a big deal, but if we're only making $5 on this item, that's 50% of the profit. You know what I mean? And overall, how many of them are you shipping out a day, etc. So since employees, it's not their money, it's hard to teach them. You know, I even want to say, pretend like it's your money and you want to preserve it, but it's not their money, so they're not going to pretend like that. So Pirate Ship is a good one because it suggests the cheapest shipping first, and it has a rate called priority cubic mail. This is for people in the U.S. mostly. And priority cubic is just like a secret rate, and it's ridiculously cheaper. So like priority mail might be $14. You get priority cubic on pirate shipping, and I think it has to be a certain package size or smaller, and it might be $8, $6. You know, and if you were just to do regular priority 2-pound or even a flat rate box, it's going to cost you twice as much. So that's a huge hack. Another one is if you're shipping books or CDs or DVDs or video games is kind of borderline, but media mail with the U.S. postal system, it's about 50 cents a pound. The other thing is when you use Amazon FBA and you ship stuff to Amazon for them to store it and ship it for you, they get discounted rates with UPS. So that's going to cost you around 25 cents to 50 cents a pound, depending on if you're shipping across the country or just in state or near you. The other thing is when you get really big on Amazon, you can ship pallets. And instead of getting 20 cents a pound, you can get, or 25 cents a pound, you can get 18 cents a pound, 17 cents a pound. If you ship like multiple pallets, you can get it down to like 6 cents a pound. And depending on, you know, where you're at, what you're paying for labor, et cetera, that could be really worth your time. And other than that, there's not a lot of hacks. And unfortunately, they keep raising costs. The cost of gas goes up. The cost of postage goes up. The minimum wage goes up. The cost of postage goes up. The cost of health insurance goes up. The cost of postage goes up. All of these things affect the price of postage. And like, if I could be a futurist for a second, I see a renaissance going back towards brick and mortar stuff. Not just basic middle of the mall stuff, but, you know, like a bookstore / cafe that's cultured and has vibes and has open mic night and like community center for the kids and whatnot. And you're going to fill it full of stuff and books or whatever your store model is, things that you can't really ship because the margins are so low, but hand to hand, you could sell it for $3. You just can't afford to sell it for $3 and pay $3 shipping because the customer doesn't want to pay $6, but they'll pay $3. And as shipping price go up, there's going to be a push towards, you know, we're not going to be throwing that stuff away. The more people think you should throw it away because they can't make money, the cheaper people like me can get it for, and the more opportunity there is to put it into people's hands locally, right? But everyone's time's worth a lot. No, people don't even want to get out of their car to go to the gas station. You know, if you can't use your credit card at the pump, my 19-year-old daughter told me this. If I can't use my credit card at the pump, I go to another gas station. She doesn't want to go in. She doesn't want to go in and see people.
It's so true.
Which is, you know, we have a whole society of people that have anxiety. You know what I mean? And so you need to create a culture, a vibe, a reason for those people, for the youth to come into your business. Not just come buy my shit. Come buy my shit because every Wednesday we do free hot dog barbecue. You know what I mean? You don't even have to come see us. Let me feed your family on Wednesday nights. And, you know, hot dog marketing, come through, check us out. We're good people. People do business with people they like. And so I think, you know, people are fine to do business with a corporation and a logo online because it's the time savings and blah, 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 whatever. But if you really want to get people into your business in real life, it's got to be you. It's got to be your face. It's got to be your culture. What are you doing for the community? You know, how do you give back to the community? Are you here to take from our community, or are you putting back? You know, like I live in a beach community. Everyone, it's pack your trash. It's a huge thing. You know, when you leave the beach, you leave it cleaner than it was before you got there. You take all your trash and you take any other trash you see. And on the real, you're liable to get knocked out by a local if you leave trash on the beach. That's just how it is. That's how it is where I grew up. And that's my mentality for everything. Every conversation I go to, every room I walk into, I want to leave it better than it was before I got there.
Man, I love that. Do you, Reezy, you skateboard? Do you snowboard?
I have never been snowboarding.
Holy, okay. I was gonna say where I'm sitting right now is in British Columbia. You know, you've heard of Vancouver, obviously, right?
Oh,
some of the most beautiful
from Van.
Yeah, so I'm a few hours from there. Some of the best powder ever in the world. He'll attest. He'll attest to that.
I just got done telling my mastermind group. I was like, yo, this year, sometime in the next couple months before the snow melts, because I don't want to go to Japan. That's a little expensive. We need to do a retreat meetup where we can snowboard. Cabins.
What do you mentioned Mastermind a few times? Like, what is you host a mastermind, or you're part of a mastermind?
So I host like 120 person mastermind through my Patreon, and it's a private group. It's the first in line for my attention. So I'm not going on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Before that, I'll go in my group, answer all those questions. If they tag me in the chat, I get notifications. Everyone in there gets my actual phone number. You can call me. You can text me if you need anything. It's everyone in there, because they're attracted to me and my vibe. The ethos is helping, sharing. Many people that have been in there for like a year or longer and are so helpful, they are now admins in the group, and they have specific tasks, and now they're not charged any longer. But we have a plethora. Like one guy shows up and he knows a ton about golf clubs, so he makes a couple videos about golf clubs, and he writes a white sheet. Then our VA, we have VAs that go in the group, takes that information and makes it into a little guide. Now we got a guide on how to find profitable golf clubs easily, and that's kind of what happens. And there's, it says like, hey, this is internal only. If you find this anywhere, holler at us. We'll give you a free shirt, like snitch on this fool for. Like, but and like that's just how it is. Like we share, bolos. Be on the lookout. Go buy this item at this store for this price and sell it for this price. This is the type of stuff you can't share in a Facebook group of 16,000 people. My Facebook group has 16,000 people. There's a lot of information there, tons of everything you need. But in the mastermind, we will hold your hand. We've taken people from 0 to 30,000 in their first year, and probably even more than that. I don't have the stats like in my head right now, but I should, because they're going from I didn't know anything, and now I've quit my job in less than a year, and I'm feeding my family off reselling. We're having a better quality of life. And then I give them any type of, benefit I can give them. So like, for example, if you had a course on how to make a podcast and it was $500 and you gave me 50% affiliate, so I get $250 every time I sell yours, I split my affiliate commission with my Reezy Ninjas. That's what I call them, the people in my mastermind. So I share my affiliate commission with them. And if they buy any of my products, like my merch or tickets to my events or whatever, they get it for half off. They just get straight 50%, And so I'm always trying to work deals with companies. Hey, what can you give me? And how can I share that with my members? You know what I mean? And that's the same mentality that I have as a poor kid growing up. Well, I didn't have any money. I didn't have any things. So I'm really keen to recognize an opportunity. If I found a stack of buy one, get one free sandwich coupons, I'm taking all of them and I'm divvying them out to everybody and telling everybody how to use them. You know what I mean? Like, because that's value. You know what I mean? Like, because I was a bad kid. My only other way I could do it is making people laugh by getting in trouble, getting in fights, like proving to people I have balls, stealing stuff for people, all of these things. Like, thank God I started skateboarding, because skateboarding is the hardest thing on the planet. And that gave me something to do with all my spare time, and to earn the appreciation of the alpha males and that group of people. There's only one way, is put your damn work in. And you don't have to talk, not my normal thing. And so, any skateboarder can go anywhere in the world, and I can see you push one time, and I know that you put at least a decade into that. You know what I mean? Most people have a decade into anything. And so, yeah, I've just had a crazy life that taught me everything was like a perfect storm for me to be who I am right now. And I am trying to figure out how to distill that into a bottle and give it to everyone for free.
Is Reezy the product, or is Reezy's media and helping the world the product, or is reselling the product? If you had to pick one, what's the product? I
would say the reselling, like you want to make money, that's the that is probably the fishing lure. That is what gets people to pay attention to me in the most part. But I do believe that the inspiration and the motivation and the energy that I just leak off of me is the product and me. That's what it is. Like, I could be anywhere in the world at any conference as a guest, and you're the host, and you're like, oh shit, so-and-so didn't show up. Can you go on stage for an hour? And I have no plan, and I will do it. I'll do it. So people can't do that. I like to tell people, like, I was diagnosed as ADHD. I was supposed to take Ritalin my entire life. My dad never went to go get it, or he did and he took it all himself or whatever. Like, I never had the medicine, and I'm thankful because that's me. I do not shut up from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. I don't shut up. I say everything I think of. Like, that's just it. I have no internal dialogue.
I love it.
And I'm not afraid to capitalize on my ideas. And, you know, like, I have a friend, and this is a great story. I have a friend named Ricky Hardy. He actually does the voice, Follow the Hustle, Reezy Resells. He does that voice.
Yeah.
In high school, he for the radio station and the school radio, whatever, deep voice, naturally. And we all thought, hey, he's going to be the white Morgan Freeman. Like, he's going to crush it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so fast forward to me, you know, seeing the world crystal clear about how you can use social media to make a living for your family and how to change the world. Call him up, what's up, Ricky? What you doing? Oh, I'm a cashier at a lumber yard. Damn. My response, fuck that. Why aren't you chasing your dreams? You know what I mean? Pushing him. Well, I don't know how to do it. Here's how you do it. I don't know how to do it. Let me run your social media for you. Let me set up your Facebook. Let me set up your Instagram. I'll pay you right now to be my customer. I'll be your first customer. That's what I always tell people. I'm that passionate. Here's how you're going to do it. Start doing it, because I'll be your first customer right now. But you ain't giving me no way for me to be your customer. You're not doing anything. You know what I mean? And I want to support you, as does anybody else who knows and cares about you. And you got the skills to pay the bills. So once everyone else finds out, you know what I mean? So he started doing Fiverr. He started doing this. He started figuring it out. He made a website. He's a smart dude, technically savvy. He built a recording studio in his house. He started doing it. I gave him some ideas. I'm like, yo, start taking other people's commercials and then take the audio off and just remake your voice on it. That's how you're going to make demo reels. You know what I mean? And start doing it. Fast forward to now, which is a little over a year and a half since I started pushing him. And he called me over Christmas break and was like, hey, man, I just want to tell you thank you. Like, in the last year, I not only quit my job and went full-time on doing voiceovers, I made $50,000 profit in 2019 doing voiceovers. And it's like, his dad is proud. Like, yo, my son's chasing his dream, doing these voiceover, like, blah, 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 you know? And that, to me, is worth more than anything. You know what I mean? And people are like, yo, I want to buy you a drink. And I was like, yo, save it, bro. Like, you done gave me everything I need to help the next person, right? Like, that's what I'm about. That's what drives me. You know what I mean? Like, you made $50,000 doing what I knew you could do. Like, you just needed that little push, man, and a little bit of tactics, and now you're killing it. You know, he sent me an email the other day with the link, and it was only good for like a day before he took it down. And he was like, yo, turn the volume down before you listen to this one. And I'm like, why? And he's like, 'cause I got to do my first video game voiceover. And he did, I can't say what game, but he did the main character in a shooter game that everyone will know about. And it's like the first 200 sounds are him yelling. And it's like, I'm like, what's with all the yells? And he's like, grenade on the left. Like, that's what the script says. Wow. Grenade on the left, grenade on the right, grenade in front of you. You know what I mean? Like, grenade behind you. And so however you make 4 different kinds of yells for wherever the grenade is, he did it, you know, and he got paid. Not like it didn't pay a ton, but you know what I mean? Like, someone that was in our crew that was at house parties with us, that, you know what I mean? That he's cool. And he's doing it, chasing his dreams. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm chasing my dream, helping other people chase their dreams. It's like a beautiful vicious cycle. You know what I mean? Like, that's my talent. My talent is making people believe that they can do it and being able to articulate it in a way that inspires them, and also having just enough of the tactical, you know, to be able to tell them how to do it. And that's why I'm not even religious, but I believe that's why I was put here, is to help others, you know, get to where they need to get to. You know what I mean? And I always tell people, they're like, how can I pay you back? And I was like, bro, pay it forward. Don't pay it back. I don't need nothing. You're doing it. That's enough for me. But you're going to run into another person and they're going to need that push. And don't be scared to tell them, I'm making $50,000 a year doing voiceover. You need to tell people the money. Money is the language that everybody speaks. They ain't even really listening until you tell them the money. You tell them the money, they pay attention. We have this taboo about don't talk about money. Don't talk. Fuck that. Talk about money.
True.
Don't brag about it. It ain't no braggadocious shit. You know what I mean? Like, tell people what you're doing and how you're doing it because it inspires. Like Gary Vee says, make happiness louder. If you got it and you're getting it, tell people. Don't just talk about, like go on Facebook or Twitter today and be like, yo, I made $1,000 today. I landed a new client today. Positivity. Instead, people are like, man, it's fucking raining again. Man, my dog died. Whatever. Like, all right, dog, your wife left you, whatever. But put out that positivity more because for some reason, society views positive as the norm. And so they don't talk about it. But everyone talks about when bad shit happens. And then what that does is the perception of outwardness, at least on the internet where people are broadcasting, is that bad shit's happening. Where's the good news? Where's the positive? Can I turn on, PNN, Positive News Network? Where's that at? Somebody should steal that idea. I will watch that shit every day. I want to know every day a different story about an entrepreneur that made it, people that are giving back to the community, like good stuff. That's all I want. I want to watch 30 minutes of PNN and go out and crush the world for that day. That's it. But it doesn't exist because society as a whole, we gravitate towards that negative stuff. And it's psychological because we're animals, right? And it's like, well, we're gods and animals. That's another story. But it's like that stuff keeps you alive. Focusing on positive shit doesn't keep you alive. Oh, there's a tiger over there. I better watch out. That keeps you alive. You know what I mean? I got a friend. He's like 6'10", and he's like, man, every time I walk into a room, people look at me funny. I'm like, fool, when they do that, you need to give them a big ass smile. You're the tallest person in the room. It's natural for people to look at the tallest person in the room and wonder if they're about to get kung fu kicked, because you could kick them outside of the normal range. You know what I mean? So it's like, understand psychology, and you have to hack your own psychology and put out positivity to hack the whole world's psychology, right? So the whole world is my family, and I'm trying to bring everybody up with me.
Everybody who's listening to this podcast, full disclosure, I don't know how we're going to even title this now. Reezy, at 46 minutes, I said, we're going to go on the wrap up, and he gave me another 16 minutes of content. I love you, man. You're so true. But I do got a quote for you, listening from you. Reezy got out of his own way so he could help others find theirs. And that's kind of the summarization I give of you, man, because everything you said was, man, I got out of my own way to really help everybody else find theirs. And this is why the success serendipitously just comes right back to you, because you're helping people, man. And once you wake up every day, don't say how much money do I want to make, say how many people can I help. Once you help people, you know what happens after that. It comes, right, man.
Money wears off. And the poorer you are, the sooner it wears off, right? Like, I need to befriend people who own Lamborghinis before I even want more money, because as soon as my refrigerator's full, I'm good.
There you go. No, I like that. Reezy, just a quick little game of fill in the blank, man. To end this off, I'm just going to say a word, and I just immediately want you to give me what you feel to that word. First word's childhood.
Terrible.
Wife.
Amazing.
Fear.
Non-existent.
Happiness.
Or fear, go for it. Yeah, that's the fear one. It doesn't exist, but you got to do it. When you feel the fear, do it anyway. Read that book.
Happiness.
Mandatory.
2020.
Vision.
And my second last question that I love that you asked Gary was, Reezy, and you're going to remember asking him this, if you were me and I interviewed you, what would your next steps be? Which I think is a brilliant question.
Yeah, it's the Inception question. I love that he loved that question.
I love that you love that he loved that question, and then I am asking you that question. This is like meta.
Yeah, this is content on content on content on content. I would, because I'm not a big name, but I would say that I would chop it up and make it into as many things as you can. If you're writing a book, pull this out and make that a chapter. You know what I mean? Make as many micro pieces of content as you can, as many 3-minute and 1 second Facebook clips as you can, 3 minute and 1 second, so you can qualify for Facebook Watch. so you can monetize it. But yeah, just pull out as much as you can, man. Like, I would share those content. I would also create different forms of the content and send them to Mandy so that I could post them, because as a content creator, creating content is a job, and if you create it and send it to me, you just saved me time, and I will appreciate that, and I will reshare it, right? So of course I'm gonna reshare it in some ways, but there's things you can do to increase your reach with my audience by, you know, just doing me little value adds and favors, and, you know, help me help you, basically.
Last question I like to ask every guest this, because it's weird how they respond, but my last question, it's always sincere, man, is how can I help you? And yes, I'll let you plug and put all the notes, but how can I actually help you?
Wow, that's a great question. I have a couple things that are on the upper reaching list. I would like to be on Joe Rogan's podcast. I would like to be on MFCEO's podcast. I would like to be on Pat Flynn's podcast. I would like to be on James Altucher's podcast. I want to be on The Ellen Show. I want to go on The Ellen Show and tell the entire world that you do not have to continue living your 9-to-5 for hustle plus no money. I can teach you, you know, you can make $100,000 a year going to garage sales and quit your 9-to-5 and have a better life. I want everybody in America to know that, and there's plenty for everybody, but it's not going to happen until I get a bigger platform. And for me, I see the Ellen Show as that platform. So if you or anyone that's listening can help me achieve any of those goals, I would be tremendously grateful for it. And I will do my best to take advantage of them in the right way to deliver the right value back to the world.
Oh, beautiful, man. That's absolutely amazing. And just last but not least, man, if anybody who's listening who doesn't know you, how can they find you? Why do they want to find you? And, you know, just where do they go, man?
Just go to my website, reezyresells.com, grab a copy of the free Intro to Amazon course, sign up for my weekly newsletter and the resources. We have a free Facebook group with 16,000 members. That's like basically an oracle at this point with the search engine. And of course, Reezy Resells on anything. That's REEZY Resells on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you just want to go straight to YouTube, go to reezy.tv and help yourself. You know what I mean? I've already put the information out there. Don't message me and say, how do I do this? How can I help you? I've already put it out there, and you know where it's at. And so I don't respond to the most basic questions at all, because you're not ready to help yourself, and I can't help you until you're ready to help yourself. So please help yourself change your life. Go to my website, just follow the hustle. You'll figure it out.
And I hope everybody who's listening to this, when they heard my first question I asked Reezy started talking robotic to me, because he's been asked that same question so much. You started giving me the whole thing. But then the moment, which our show is all about, curiosity is our mandate and real talk happens, as soon as we go into what makes Reezy tick, mind, heart, soul, then the stuff starts getting really good. This has been an amazing podcast. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Again, we got nominated for the best black hosted podcast in all of Canada. I think we won.
Congratulations!
Thank you. I think we won. We're gonna find out on the 15th. Again, you know, just made top 100 iTunes podcast under entrepreneurship category here in Canada. So we're really happy about that. And again, thanks so much. Without you, the listeners, the audience, this would not be possible. So our whole mandate to you is, you know, keep bringing on amazing guests, keep giving you great value, and the rest is history. Again, curiosity should always be your mandate. Reezy, I appreciate you, brother.
Dude, likewise. Thank you so much, Ryan.